Another big fight on that card, Mike Perry against Paul Felder. We spoke to Mike last week. Wanted to talk to Paul Felder about everything he went through during the fight, after the fight. He's joining us via the magic of Skype. Let's go to him right now. And there he is, Paul Felder joining us. And as you can see, his arm a little bit in pain, I would imagine. First, Paul, how are you?
Healing up at this point. I'm good.
Okay, so it's right there, so I have to ask you right off the bat, what is wrong with your hand?
I have a complete break in this bone right here, the ulna or whatever it is. I don't really remember the name of it, but completely broken. Going under tomorrow and getting surgery. They're going to put a plate in and try to reinforce it.
Wow, and when did that happen?
First round, I threw a spinning back fist, landed on the top of his head and broke it. And right in between rounds, I noticed I couldn't make a fist all the way, and I could feel crunching and like shifting in my forearm the whole time.
Oh my! How did that, like? Were you feeling the pain or adrenaline, things like that, taking over?
Yeah, I mean the pain was there. It was discomfort, but when you fight, you have so much adrenaline. It didn't really. The pain wasn't affecting me as much as I couldn't make a full fist and I couldn't grip anything with it. I couldn't fight hands or really grab a hold of Mike when I was trying to clinch him, and I was afraid to throw elbows with it, even though I was spinning. It was definitely the most chaotic, crazy MMA experience I've ever had in the octagon. It was wild, man. It sucks that I have all these injuries, but it's definitely a fight I will remember for the rest of my career. That's for sure.
Remember in a good way or in a bad way?
In a bad way, just because of the loss. But as far as an experience and working through something and learning something about myself, it's something I'll remember in a positive light. I mean, that's something not everybody can say they get the chance to go through. I mean, my arm was completely broken in round one against one of the hardest hitting guys in the welterweight division, and I went toe to toe with him to a split decision. So, I mean, I'm going to recover. I'm going to be back, and I'll figure out where that's going to be. I still got to figure out. Some coaches and people want me to stay at welterweight. Some people want me to go back to 55. So I got some thinking to do.
I'll get to that in a second, but I'm just wondering, in hindsight, are you surprised that you were able to last 2.5 rounds with that injury? Like, how is that even possible?
I don't know, man. They say redheads are less susceptible to pain, right? Maybe that was helping me out the whole time.
I never heard that one before, but I guess it makes sense now.
We're also crazy and soulless gingers, so that might have also helped me out the whole time.
Did you consider saying I'm done at any point?
No, absolutely not. No, I mean, that's why I didn't say out loud in the corner when the cutman and everybody was working on me. If you watch the fight, I just keep pointing to Duke, letting him know that's why I'm off.
Yeah.
Not quite myself in there. It's through my arm. And he's like, I know, I hear you. But nobody knew the severity of it. It could have been just like, a ligament or something. We didn't know.
I may have lost him. All right. We'll reconnect with Paul here in a matter of moments. Stand by. Oh, he's back. Paul, you there? The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. No, I don't think he was. No. Oh. I think I have him back. Paul, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, yeah. We lost you there for a second, but now you're back. If you don't mind, just before you were landscape, now you're vertical. If you could, are you on a phone?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. That's beautiful. Thank you. So obviously it affected you. I'm assuming that before they read the scorecards, did you think that you had lost the fight, or were you holding out hope?
Yeah. When I went back to the corner, I asked Duke, I'm like, did we definitely lose? And he was like, no, it's close. He didn't know because he's looking at it from the outside in. When you're in it, a lot of fighters would tell you, man, you don't really know what's.
All right, let's go to phones. Sorry about that. It is sometimes the Skype gods just don't want
My
to.
arm.
We're gonna call you on the phone if you can hear me, Paul. Apologies for that. Sometimes these Skype gods, as I said, are just not very kind. So please stand by. Incredible to hear him talk about that, having a broken hand. And still fighting on against a guy like Mike Perry. I believe he has surgery set for tomorrow, but we're going to check back in. Call him on the phone if you don't mind, and we'll check back in with Paul Felder, who also, by the way, is one of the best analysts in the game. And this is a setback for him in terms of fighting, but maybe the good news is that we hear from him sooner rather than later on the mic. Michael Bisping, by the way, he got his shot on the Contender Series. Bisping doing a phenomenal job, in my opinion, on the Contender Series these days. And that's going on. It returns tomorrow. Let's go to the phones. Paul, you there?
I'm here.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. You guys don't have to look at my face anymore.
No, I love looking at your face. So we lost you in mid-answer, so I'll just ask the question again. Did you think that there was a chance that you won the fight?
Yeah, I was saying I knew it was a battle. I thought it was close, but I asked Duke, and he said, it's going to be up in the air. It's close. And then when I heard split decision, I thought, oh, crap, maybe I did pull it off. I knew I was landing shots, but when you're bloody like that, man, you just can only assume that you're probably losing in the eyes of the judges. And I take nothing away from Perry. I've watched that fight, and I think it's fair that it went to him. I would have done more if my right hand was feeling better. I would have thrown a lot more twos and probably had a better defense. But yeah, I think it's a fair decision.
Okay. Did you obviously the big story was you going up in weight? Did you feel as though he had any kind of size advantage over you?
No, I don't. I think he's strong. I feel like he was strong, but I think that's just because, he's used to being at welterweight. He's used to going with bigger guys. But as far as size, I don't think we could have been any different in weight if not me even being slightly heavier, just because I'm a little taller and everything too. I don't think that was the issue. I honestly think the only thing that really set me back big time was my arm got hurt. We headbutted each other right off the bat. So I got a gash in my hairline. Then he got me with that good left hook and split me open really bad. So yeah, it's just a lot of little circumstances that just happen in fights. I don't think any of them had to do with being at welterweight.
Okay, so have you decided if you're going to stay at welterweight?
I haven't yet. I've got a little layoff now with the arm. So we'll see what my weight does too. I'm already back in the 90s right now. It's 193 this morning. So it's like, where is that going to go with inactivity? I might get close to 200 pounds, or I might lose weight because I'm not lifting as much. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next few months.
How much did you enjoy that week? Like, could you feel, was there a noticeable difference in your mood? Obviously, you're not cutting that extra weight, but I mean, you must have thought at one point, like, gosh, this is just so much more enjoyable, right?
So much better, man. I mean, my teammates can tell you I was a much different person. When I'm cutting to 155, it's not only that week, it's even the 2 weeks leading up to that. Like, I was already starting to get pretty miserable before this fight got canceled just because it's the dieting to get to a range where I can even do the water cut is, a 7-week journey for me. So the workouts were a lot more fun too. Like I was doing a lot more active, light sparring and actually getting takedowns and doing wall work. I wasn't just hitting pads to sweat or running to sweat. I was just staying sharp. Whereas when I cut to 55, by Wednesday, we're just working out to work out and sweat.
And so why in a million years would you even consider going back down to 155?
I know, right? When you say it like
yes.
that, it's just, I don't know, man. I've had different coaches think different things. Obviously, everybody likes me. My mom, first of all, does not even want me to think about going back to 155.
Yeah.
Marion Felder does not want lightweight Paul in her life whatsoever. And most of my friends agree, man, you're a lot more pleasant and, you return phone calls a lot better when you're eating and fighting at 170. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good question. Why would you want to go through that? I'm 34, man. I'm not getting younger in this sport. So it's definitely something I'm going back and forth on. I really do want to just kind of ride out my career, just slugging it out and seeing where I go at 170, having great training camps, not killing myself, and then putting on performances like that. I mean, imagine how much better that fight is if I don't break my arm, even if I don't win. Imagine how much more exciting that fight could have been if I'm not dealing with a broken bone.
Yeah.
And I feel like at welterweight, there's quite a few matchups like that where I can just, let's just collect bonus money, which we should have gotten for that one. Holy crap. That was disappointing.
Somewhat adding insult to injury.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, though, too. It's like these performances were ridiculous that night, so I just assumed that there would be a fight of the night. So when that didn't happen, I was like, oh, yeah, that sucks.
Does a part of you feel robbed in the sense that, like, you wanted to see how you would perform as a 170-pounder, but the arm, the injury, the break kind of messed that up, obviously, so you couldn't quite realize your potential, and like this was your litmus test, right? This was your opportunity to see how you would be, but now you have no real clue how you would be because you were fighting with an injured hand.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's what Duke said to me today. We were talking about where I should go, and he's just kind of checking in on me, and he's like, your coming out party was really ruined by that broken arm. He said, I really think, it could have been everybody going, wow, this guy should definitely move up to 170. And now everybody's kind of like, oh, see what happens when he goes with the big boys?
Yeah.
It's like, no, how about I broke my own arm on Perry's hard head? Which, hey, props to him, right? I mean, he took it and broke my arm. I mean, it's not like he did anything illegal to this arm. So.
And so after the fight, you tweet this picture of you at the hospital. And I saw this after DC won. So this is at least a couple hours later, and there's dried blood on your face. You still haven't been stitched up. What happened there?
Oh, I was in that emergency room for like 4.5 hours before I think they finally gave me stitches in my face. Now I know it's a trauma unit, and I had some people being like, people are worried about somebody dying. I get that, but they could have, like, my cuts weren't even addressed. Like, I was still bleeding up until I took that picture. Like, I would turn my head the wrong way, and a whole stream of blood would just go down my face, onto my shirt, all over me. It really sucked. It was a busy night in Vegas in the hospital that night.
Which hospital was it?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
U something or UCM or.
And in the end, how long were you there?
Oh my God, man! You figure I fought around 8:30.
Yeah.
I didn't get out till I think 1 a.m. or a little later. Like, the pay-per-view was being done, bonuses given out, all that. I was still there.
So so we're saying like at least 3 hours, right?
Oh yeah, I mean probably closer to 4. Really.
Wow. Have you ever? I mean, you've been in this game a long time. Have you ever had a post-fight experience like that?
No, usually I think the arm threw them off too, because they were addressing my arm, and I had different doctors who are, obviously orthopedics and all that kind of stuff coming up and trying to fix my arm. But even that, they wanted to keep me overnight and possibly do surgery. And I was like, look, I want to see people that, and then we contacted the UFC, and they sent people over and kind of got everything straightened up real quick. So I'll give them that. Once they found out I was kind of getting delayed, the UFC got on it, and they, their doctors were like, do not, whatever you do, don't have surgery. We need to send you home first.
Okay.
So,
does the UFC not go with you to the doctor? Do they not go with, like, is there not someone who is with you when you're transported?
Well, I had like 2 of my cornermen with me.
Okay.
Went with me to the ambulance. They threw me right in an ambulance and just took me. And then, yes, they had 3 staff members show up to make sure I had a ride back and everything like that. They kind of got the process moving a lot quicker. Because otherwise I would have got stitches from the UFC doctors, then went and had my arm addressed. And I've been in and out at that point, because all they did was brace it and take x-rays. But they were so busy that they couldn't even get to my stitches because they had much crazier stuff to deal with.
Wow. And do you feel as though, I mean, you're going to have the surgery tomorrow and hopefully it all goes well. this won't hinder your ability to fight. You recover, you're all good, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was talking to the doctor on maybe Monday or last Thursday or whatever it was. I had my evaluation, and he said, 3 months from beginning to when I'm back to 100%. So you figure I'll be training and active in that process. He told me I can be doing running, cardio, hitting things with my legs and stuff. It's just, as far as full-blown MMA, it'll be at least 2 months, if not a little more.
It's crazy how this sport goes, how life goes. Obviously, last year you were on a roll. This year you've had bad luck in terms of opponents falling through, and then, of course, this happening. Are you hoping to squeeze one in before the end of the year so you can end on a good note?
Well, I mean, that was the idea, but I'm just doing the math in my head, and I don't want to push it. I don't want to, even if I'm 100% cleared, but I haven't had enough time since I've been cleared, because obviously I need an 8-week camp at least. I'm probably going to need more than that for my weight once I'm finally off of all this stuff and functioning. So I would like that Milwaukee card if I'm 100%.
Okay.
If that's too early, obviously there's that end of the year pay-per-view, I think.
Yep.
And that's literally the end of the year. If I could get one in just to make it 3 and I'm healthy by then, obviously both those cards I would love to be a part of, and hopefully I pull my Wolverine out, man, and get better on this thing quick. I'm already moving my arm. I can make a fist right now, and it's still broken. So hopefully once they get that plate in there and it's secured, hopefully the healing will go fast.
And last thing, when's your next broadcasting date?
Man, I was supposed to be out there right now doing Contender Series, but the surgery set me back one more week, and then I'll be doing the last couple of weeks of Contender Series, and I'll be in Nebraska, and I'm going to Moscow, and I think I have a desk job somewhere in there, I think for Sao Paulo. I think I'll be on the desk.
All right, so you'll be busy. We'll be seeing you. I appreciate you doing this, Paul. Good luck with the surgery tomorrow. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but thanks for coming on and talking about it, and hope you have a speedy recovery, and we get to see you back in there sooner rather than later.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, man. And, I will be back for sure, hopefully quicker than everybody realizes.
All right, looking forward to that. Good luck to you, Paul. Thank you.
Thanks, Ariel.
We'll talk to you soon. There he is, Paul Felder, stopping by. An unfortunate turn of events for him, certainly in the fight and then afterwards at the hospital, but looking forward to his return. And if you are a fan of him on the mic, whether it's at the events, behind the desk, some good news coming up that he will be very busy. Interesting to note that he will be doing the last 2 shows, so that means he'll probably do the Nick Newell event and probably Greg Hardy's second contender fight. We reported that last week, and it was also officially announced by the UFC on Saturday. So if you're a fan of Felder and Bisping as a 1-2 punch in terms of analysts, I like the 3-man booth. I know there are some people who don't like the 3-man booth, but I like the 3-man booth, especially if they bring different things to the table. All right. In a matter of moments, we are going to be joined by Jessica Aguilar, so we'll turn our attention back to the Boise card. She was victorious on Saturday in the first fight of the night. My friend Jedi Goodman had a little nugget about that. The former WSOF strawweight champion opened the show, and former WSOF heavyweight champion closed the show. Just kind of a nice nod to that company, which of course is now the PFL, which of course is back in action this Thursday on NBCSN, not too far from here on Long Island at the new, I believe it's the new Nassau Coliseum. So anyway, Jessica Aguilar, who was at one time considered the best strawweight fighter in the world, she picked up her first UFC victory. She defeated Jodie Esquibel. She was supposed to fight in Utica in June. That fight was pulled with just a few minutes to go, and now she finally gets back on track. She picks up her first win since November of 2014. She joins us now on the phone. Jessica, are you there?
Yes, Ariel, I'm here. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on the win. Your first victory since November of 2014. Did you forget what it felt like?
Man, I kind of did, but it was a long layoff. I was anticipating to fight originally in February, and so I was ready to go then. But everything happens for a reason. Now I got my first victory, my 20th win in my career. I'm healthy, and I just looking to stay busy.
How much did you miss that feeling? Getting your hand raised, the glow, the aftermath. How much did you miss it?
A lot. But I think you learn from every experience, and it's just like anything else in life. You have the ups and downs, and it's what you do with it, and so I'm happy that I got the win, and I'm happy to still be here, Ariel, living my dream and doing what I love to do.
Were you happy with your performance?
I'm never going to be happy. I'm probably the hardest person on myself. I'm not happy with my performance. I wanted to finish the fight earlier, but hey, I'm very grateful that I got the victory. I knew I was winning, but I still have a lot to work on. I think I had a little rust, being on that long layoff. But again, we'll get back to the drawing board, and we'll get better and keep moving forward.
What about your performance are you not happy with in particular?
I wanted to finish earlier. I wanted to, but it's okay. I spoke to my coach, Dean Thomas, and he's like, you did good. This is the first time that we had worked on something different, which was moving my feet a little more. I was, not standing in front so much like I always do. I stand there and bang. And so we worked these past 7 months on moving loosely, moving more. And so he was like, hey, this is your first time, fighting the way you fought. And you did good. So I'm taking that. I'm going to get better. It's just going to get better from here, Ariel.
Are you hoping to get back in there relatively soon to make up for lost time?
Yeah. Actually, I'd love to. I heard there's a Latin American card sometime in November, and I'd love to get on that card in Argentina. I'm not sure if they've announced a venue yet, but I would love to get back on that card.
Obviously, we know that you were supposed to fight in Utica, and the fight got pulled just like minutes before. Could you tell us what happened from your perspective? I know we were texting you. You put out a statement, and I appreciate that. But are you able to talk about what happened there?
Of course. So I was supposed to fight. Remember, I was supposed to fight back in February the first time.
Mm-hmm.
My partner got injured, and then I got rescheduled for June. And an hour before the fight, well, let's rewind. Weigh-ins, the day of weigh-ins, we do the pre-medical, and I asked one of the commissioners when she called. I said, how long is the physical going to take? And she got pretty upset about that. I'm not sure. I don't know why she got bothered. And she said, this is like no other commission. We take about 20 minutes. It's very extensive. I said, okay, no problem. I was just trying to figure out if I would go weigh in first and then come to you or do this. Anyways, long story short, she's asking me the questions, and we're going through, and my coach, Dean Thomas, is with me. And while she's asking the questions, I pull out my chapstick, and I start putting chapsticks on my lips. And she's like, what's on your lips? And I said, there's nothing on my lips. I said, I have chapstick. And that's how it started. And then from then, they sent me to a dermatologist, which after the weigh-in, I was rushed to the dermatologist. I couldn't enjoy my experience. The dermatologist kind of like laughed and said, "What am I looking at?" And I said, "I don't know. They sent me to get checked." So she said, "There's nothing on your lips," and she said, "They're just chapped lips." And she cleared me. So she did her examination, and she cleared me, came back an hour before the fight. I wasn't even dealing with that commissioner, that doctor commissioner. She came looking for me, and she said, "I gave you 24 hours." And she pulled the fight. So it was not fair at all, but it was what it was. Bad experience. Rick Collin, actually an attorney from New York, is speaking with their attorneys and seeing what can happen with what they can do to get something resolved. But now I'm just happy that it's over. I got my victory Saturday night, and I'm looking forward. So,
Wow.
I want to leave all that bad stuff behind me and keep moving forward.
Is it fair to say that you're not too keen on fighting in New York again?
No, yeah, it is. I will never fight in New York again.
Okay. Are you? Because from my perspective, you're cleared, and then they pull you. It seems like something is missing there. No, it feels like a confusing situation.
Yes, it does. And I just spoke to my attorney today. He just wanted to kind of give me an update. And basically now he says, well, your MRI had it was almost expired. I said, what did my MRI have to do with my chapped lips? That wasn't the issue. So they're going back and forth right now, but it made no sense, Ariel. It wasn't fair for not only myself but for Jodie and her team and my team. We as fighters put so much into preparing, and we bring sparring partners from other places, and we just do so much. There's so many people involved. So for her just to do that, it was a nice thing to do.
Yeah. Were you compensated at all for that?
Yes, I mean, not my full compensation. UFC, did what they could. Not a lot, but hey, I'm appreciative for whatever they did to help me out. So yeah, and I was booked right away. I was happy to have that booked right away.
So no gripes in terms of the way it was handled from the UFC's end?
No, they tried. UFC, I'm sure they did all they could, Mick, and they were, my management, they stayed in touch, and they did all they could, and I'm grateful for that.
Do you feel like you were sort of unfairly thrown under the bus in the sense that you come out with this and people are like, no, I don't believe this. This can't be true. So now there's people who are leading to speculation and things like that. Like, was it frustrating at all to have something that you deem to be just chapped lips, which is quite normal, and then people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course it's frustrating. I've worked so hard to build my reputation and to keep my name clean and do everything I need to do to show up and do my job. So when somebody just kind of, tarnishes that, just like does that, I mean, it does. But I don't like to dwell on that. I deal with it. I keep my strong mind and just do what I need to do and keep moving forward. But yeah, it's not cool.
When people talk about the best fighters at 115, there was a time where you were at the top of the list, and obviously you have to work your way back up. But when you see the top of the list right now, do you feel confident that you can hang with these people? Do you feel like if you just get a few more fights under your belt and you get some good luck and you're able to fight these fights and remain in these fights, that you can be back to where you were just a couple of years ago?
Absolutely, Ariel. I just have to get my roll back. I got to keep staying busy and stay training, stay healthy. And I know I'll be up there again. I know that. And I just can't wait to continue staying busy and making my way up.
How difficult mentally has this, the time off and not winning for a while, just for you mentally, how difficult has it been?
It's been pretty hard, but I've been through a lot in life, and it was obviously a different experience. I've never been through so many injuries and in my career. So, but it just showed me how I can overcome anything. But yeah, it was pretty hard. I just I'm happy and grateful to have the people around me that believe in me and support me. My family, my friends, my fiance, just everybody who still believes in me, and they're like, hey, you're going to get through this, and just keeps me in that right spot.
Are you changing, or have you changed anything in terms of your training, your time in the gym to avoid injuries now?
Yeah, we kind of we work around what I can do and can't do. So yeah, I've been listening to my body more, and I've been through 26 fights in my career. So my body's taken quite a bit of. I have a few miles on my body, and so now the training, I don't go as intense as I used to. But now I'm feeling healthy. I'm going to I'm going to keep working now. Before I was out for about 3 years, almost 3 years. So I couldn't train a lot. Now I can train. I'm feeling healthy, and I want to keep that going, Ariel.
Who makes sense for you next? Have you thought about that?
I haven't thought. I just want to stay busy, and we'll see. There's a few fights happening in the strawweight division, and we'll see what happens. But I like challenges, and I'm down for whatever fight UFC puts in front of me.
How do we get you to wear the luchador mask again? This breaks my heart.
Tell you, UFC. I have to get it approved by UFC. They haven't, allowed for me to walk out with it. So we'll see what.
What's the reason?
There's no reason. I'm not sure. There's no logos on it. For this fight, I was kind of just focused on what I was going to do on our game plan, and I wasn't too focused about coming out with a mask. And also, we'll talk to them and see what I have to do to get it approved for my next fight.
Man, it's just because I see them, other fighters get to wear, Khabib gets to wear what he wears on his head, and I've seen it, I just feel like there's no consistency. And how does it affect? I know there's no logo, but you're not wearing a logo on your face anyway, so what does it matter? You know what I mean?
Right? I know,
The fight game is about being different. It's about sticking out. It's about being unique. It's about personality. I have your luchador mask that you gave me at UFC 190 right over here on to my left. That's what this whole sport is about. This is what we need. I hope they reconsider this.
I agree. And once we finish here, I'll have the meet. I'll actually email them, and we'll get going on that. And I'll have it next time, Ariel. I'll put the mask on for you next time.
Oh, thank you. Well, I hope you don't get in trouble. Please tell them that I'm very upset about this. I don't know if that will help you or hurt you, but anyway, if you want to say that, you have my blessing.
You're awesome. I will. Thank you.
All right, Jessica. Well, congratulations. I was very happy to see that you finally got that W in the UFC in the Octagon. I'm looking forward to what's next, and I'm sending you good vibes. I hope you get on a bit of a roll here and are able to fight on a consistent basis.
You're awesome, Ariel. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate all the love and support the fans have given me, and I can't wait to get back in there.
All right.
November, Latin America.
Okay. We look forward to that. Thank you, Jessica. All the best to you.
Thank you so much.
There she is, Jessica Aguilar, at one time considered, in my opinion and in other people's opinion as well, one of the very best strawweights in the world, and maybe in a couple fights she can be in that position. There was a period from September of 2010, November of 2010, all the way until her UFC debut in August of 2015. That was the UFC 190 card I talked about, Rousey versus Bethe Correia. She didn't lose a fight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 fights in a row. Wins over the likes of Carla Esparza. Wins over the likes of Megumi Fuji twice. Kalindra Faria. Then, of course, she met Claudia Gadelha in the UFC and injured her hand. And it's been, she was out for almost 2 years. Came back in May of last year to fight Courtney Casey. Lost that fight, and we have not seen her since. So looking forward to seeing her go on a roll. Now, the big story on Saturday, of course, main event, Junior Dos Santos. He came back after quite the layoff as well. It had been, 14 months or so since his last fight. Looked great, got the victory, and now he's back in the mix at heavyweight. He's kind enough to be joining us on the phone. Junior, how are you?
Hey, Ariel. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much for joining us just a couple of days after the fight. I'm really appreciative, and I want to wish you congratulations on the performance and the victory. Just physically, off the bat, how are you feeling? Because I know you were a little bit bruised. You tend to get bruised in your fights. How are you feeling a couple of days later?
Well, thank you very much, Ariel. First of all, I want to congratulate you for your new network, too, and it's good to see your success, man.
Thank you, Junior. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. It doesn't really matter. I have some bruises here and there, but they're not big things, so it doesn't really matter. I'm feeling great. I got the victory after a very tough fight, and it's great to feel active again.
Yeah. In terms of before we get to the fight, the week itself, just being back, fight week, being back in the mix. Seeing your face on the poster after this was taken away from you, how much did you enjoy the whole week leading up to the fight?
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot, because I was leading the whole environment of the fight again, and taking care of my responsibilities before the fight. So it was good, you know. It was good to be there. I love to do this thing, you know. So to be there, it's very important for me. And I was, as always, enjoying every part of the game. And you know, and like I said, you know, it's I wanna keep doing this more often now.
Did you feel like you were appreciating it more because it had been so long and because it was taken away from you?
Yes, I feel like, you know, I feel like somehow justice was made, and I was having the opportunity, you know, to clear my name and to move on my career.
So in terms of the actual fight itself and how you felt in there, you know, I like to ask this question. I asked the question to Chad Mendez at the top of the show because, you know, this was a chance for you to clear your name, because it was a chance for a fresh start. Did you feel different? Did you feel more nervous going into the fight because there was so much, you know, there was so much attention on what you've been through over the last few months?
Yes. This last year was a tough year for me, but I was feeling nervous. Yes, I was, but not because of this whole situation. I think because of a long time without fighting. You know, I was a long time without fighting, so I kind of, you know, I forgot a little bit how was it. So I was a little bit nervous, but I think it's good, you know, because it makes you you more, you know, you can you have to pay attention on every situation a little bit more than when you are relaxed. So it was good. Nothing that bothers me, you know. It was all good.
How about and I have to say that, you know, you have had some layoffs before, but due to injury and things like that, never, you know, with this kind of frustration. But I'm just wondering, in the cage, how did you feel early on? Did you feel like, okay, you know, you've fought so many times, you're back at it, or did you feel like you needed some time to, you know, to get your feet wet and to feel comfortable again?
No, actually, the feeling I was having is to go back right away, you know, and to go in there in the cage and do my best, you know, that I know how to do. But it was kind of strange, you know, because of this long time without fighting. I was feeling a little bit more nervous, and I was, you know, trying to remember how I react to the situations inside the octagon. So, but I think I could deal with that very well during the fight. You know, it was a tough fight, you know, much tougher. I was expecting a tough fight, but it was tougher than I thought. You know, that guy Blagoy, he's a wall, man. He's a Bulgarian wall. You know, I was hitting him, and he wasn't reacting for that. You know, he wasn't showing any weaknesses. So for me, was a good comeback.
Were you do you recall thinking to yourself like, wow, this guy is tougher than I thought? Like, what do I have to do to actually put this guy down, put this guy out?
Yeah. I was throwing. I hit him with some heavy hands, you know, some heavy shots. And after the third round, on the fourth round, around that, I was thinking to myself, my gosh, everything what I'm throwing against this guy is not working very well. So what am I have to do? You know, I'm gonna keep moving, and you know, should I take him down or something like that? Then I thought, man, maybe it's not gonna be a good strategy because he's from Sambo, you know, and he knows how to defend a takedown or even to get up. So I said, man, better I stay here, you know, moving and still throwing my punches against him, you know, and let's see what's gonna happen.
Did you think he would try to take you down more given his Sambo background? Did you think he would try to shoot him? It felt very much like a fight that was the kind of fight that you wanted, you know, a boxing match, a striking match. Did you think he would try to make it a little dirtier and try to take the fight to the ground more?
Yes, I was expecting that. You know, I thought we would have a little bit more of grappling during the fight, you know, because he's like I said, you know, he's a Sambo guy, and I was getting prepared my whole training camp, you know, I was getting kind of prepared for that too, you know. But of course, the boxing thing is always my main sport. but I was expecting for a more grappling game. He didn't try anything like very, specific. He didn't try anything of grappling with me, so that was a little bit of surprise for me. But I felt good, because I felt good. He was countering every time. He was good, He's a southpaw guy, and every time I was trying to attack him, he was countering with a right hand hook, or right hand hook, and all those right hand hooks were connecting on my face or my body, So I was feeling that. It was hard for me to find a hole, a good way to get in there, throw my punch, and go out. He was a good challenge.
The interesting thing about Blagoy is that he is so tough, he is so durable, but yet he is not, a household name as far as UFC fans are concerned. So did you feel, you want to get back on track, you want to win regardless, no problem. But do you feel like you got the credit for this fight because he is so tough, but yet not known to everyone? It's not like you're fighting one of the guys who have been in the UFC for 10 years and everyone knows who he is?
Yeah, but actually, Ariel, I wasn't thinking about that, When they offered me the Blagoy, I said yes right away, because like I've been suffering with this thing of having opponents, because some of the guys, they don't want to fight. They don't want to fight me, or some of the guys, they want to fight for the title. They want to fight for something else, but they don't. They like picking opponents. I don't do that. So what I want at that point, after everything what I went through, everything what I wanted was to go to fight again. So then they offered me Blagoy. I didn't think about this guy is not known. This guy is not in the rankings right now. So I'm not gonna fight him. I didn't think about that. I just accept the fight, and because it doesn't really matter. You have to fight. In the UFC, you have to fight and show you're there. You're there to make the show happen. And so that's what I did. I had a tough fighter in front of me, and doesn't matter what, thank God I got the win.
So after the fight, I heard that you said that you wanted a third fight against Stipe Miocic. I spoke to him earlier in the day, and he only cares about having a rematch against Daniel Cormier. He feels like he's been disrespected. He wants that rematch. And so I'll ask you about that in a second. But we also did speak to Francis Ngannou today, and he said he was supposed to fight you, of course, and he would love an opportunity to fight you next. How do you feel about this idea of fighting Francis Ngannou?
Well, like I said, I don't pick opponents. I think it would be much more interesting fight if to happen when it shouldn't happen, like months ago.
Yeah.
But like I said, I want to fight often. If Francis Ngannou is the opponent, let's go. Let's make it happen. Actually, I think people will love to see that. So, yeah, if the UFC call me and they want to make this fight, let's go.
Okay, so you're open to it.
Of course. Right now, I like I said, what I want is to fight more often. To have more fights during the year, even to get more to be better, in a better shape, in a better timing of using my skills during a fight. So, let's fight. I don't pick opponents. If I need to, like I said, I'm going to fight all of them again.
In a perfect world, what month would you like to return in?
I still didn't think about that,
Okay.
But give me 3 or 4 months, I'm fine again. I'm actually, because right now I'm saying like 3 or 4, because right now what I'm gonna do is take some time with my family.
Yeah.
We went through a very hard battle this last year. Last year. So my wife was there all the time with me. I know it was hard for her. So I want to give her some relaxation. I want to have some relaxation too, with my son. So I need some time with them, at least 20 or 30 days. You know, we're gonna find out what we're gonna do, and after that, I'll go back to the training, and then we can fight.
And by the way, you know, Francis is going through a lot mentally, and he talked about being afraid after what happened in his last fight. Did you see what happened to him against Derek Lewis, like the way he was performing? And have you ever been through anything like that before, you know, throughout the highs and lows where you just were thinking too much and you felt like the mind, the brain wasn't allowing you to perform? Do you sympathize when you see or hear something like that from a fellow fighter?
Oh, yes, for sure, you know. Actually, it happens all the time with the fighters, but some of the fighters, they have a different way to react to that. I think I have a good way to react, because every time I don't know what to do, I do something. You know, I try my best shots. I try to bring lucky to close to me. You know, so I try to take advantage of the moment, but I understand the moment that he was going through. You know, he was coming from a very good moment, you know, beating everybody, and then he lost the fight for Miocic, a tough fight for him, and now, of course, he doesn't want to lose again, you know, and he wants to show the same kind of performance he was having before. But in front of him, he had a very tough fighter too, you know, Derek Lewis. So that was a dangerous fight for both of them. So I kind of didn't understand, you know, why during the fight I was saying that, you know, I think Francis Ngannou is afraid to lose, you know. We are not, like in my case, I can tell for me, I'm not afraid to get beat or something like that. I don't care about getting punched in the face or something. The only thing I don't want is to lose. So I think it was happening with Francis Ngannou in that fight specific.
How do you feel about Brock Lesnar being back and getting a title shot right away?
Man, that's weird. That's weird because he wasn't competing. You know, that's weird. You know, but it was, man. We have to see this fact. Daniel Cormier won the title. You know, the heavyweight title. Now he's the champion for 2 divisions, and he was the guy who invited Brock Lesnar to step in the cage. And you know, like the 2 division champion was invite you to come up to the cage, you know, and like he was almost challenging you, you know. So it was, you know, it was kind of strange, but I understand Daniel Cormier, and probably if I was in his shoes, I probably would do the same, you know, because somehow people love to see Brock Lesnar fighting, you know, people love to see that huge guy, and they pay for it, and so the UFC wants to do that kind of fight, you know, that the fight that people wants to see. So right now, I'm understanding a little bit more of what's happening in this scenario, you know, because at the beginning I didn't understand anything, you know. I said, what? Daniel Cormier is inviting Brock Lesnar? It doesn't make any sense. But now I understand a little bit more.
But the fact that he's still suspended, you've been through this before. Don't you feel like it's weird that they're promoting a fight when if you're suspended, you can't corner a fighter, you can't do this and that, and he still has 6 months left?
Yeah, it feels very, very strange, very strange. You know, like I said, it's something, you know, that we cannot understand very well, man, because, you know, if that's I feel like this, you know, it's like the Cirque du Soleil, you know. If people want to see that kind of show, they will do whatever it takes to make that show happen. You know, so that's why I think the UFC is facing this moment. You know, they want that fight to happen, so they will work on that fight to happen.
Do you feel like there's a double standard? Like because he's a big draw, they bend the rules for him, but if you're not a big draw, you won't get the same kind of, you know, you won't get the same kind of opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. You know, if you're a big, if you're interesting for them, they'll you know, try to help, you know, for you on any way they can. to set you free and fight again, you know. And yeah, that's what I think.
I still remember you guys were supposed to fight in Vancouver many years ago. Is this?
Yeah, that's true.
Remember that tough? I think it was Tough 13 that you guys were on. Maybe one day again, or you don't think so? He's coming just for a title shot and that's it.
Yeah, maybe you never know, you know. But yeah, I think that would be the right fight to do now.
Yeah,
me and him, you know, if he's returning to the UFC, that would be the fight to do, you know, because we should fight at that time. He couldn't because he got sick, and then Shane Cowling replaced him, and I fought Shane Cowling. But now he's coming back, so I think he should fight against me. That would be maybe the right thing to do. But like I said, you know, he's a guy that calls a lot of attention, who sells a lot of pay-per-view. So why not fighting for the title, right?
Right, I guess. You always have to balance sports and entertainment in this sport. All of a sudden, heavyweight has become super interesting. Cormier's champion. Stipe is still out there. Brock is returning. You've got young guys like Curtis Blades and Alexander Volkov out there. It's an interesting time at heavyweight, right?
Yeah, the heavyweight is living a good moment for sure. You know, we have many good opportunities to make good fights for the fans, and no doubt that the UFC will do that. Will make that happen.
Junior, great to see you back. Very happy for you. Congratulations. Enjoy the victory. Enjoy the time off with your family. And I know you just got back home, so thank you very much for coming on the show today and talking to us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you very much. It's good to be talking with you again.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. There he is, Cigano, Junior Dos Santos, victorious on Saturday in Boise, Idaho, I should say. Great victory for him. Long layoff. He has had long layoffs before, but never with this kind of baggage going into a fight surrounding it, and he was able to somewhat clear his name. Now he's back on track. Went over a very tough and durable guy, a guy who once famously defeated Fyodor Emelianenko in a sambo match, and maybe not, as I said, a household name to UFC fans, but no small feat to pick up a win over Blagoy Ivanov. Also on that card, Sage Northcutt victorious, picking up another win, his third in a row, but most notable for him was that he picked up his first win as a welterweight. Remember, he moved up to welterweight on short notice to fight Brian Barberina and lost that fight. That was his first loss in the UFC. The world exploded after that fight. Remember, he was on the show on the Monday after and talked about dealing with a throat infection, handled it like a pro for such a young guy, handled it with so much class, didn't shy away from it, didn't hide from the setback, moved back up, or I should say back down to 155, got back on track, moved back up to 170 to fight Mickey Gall, and again, didn't pick up the W. Changed camps, won 2 fights in a row with Team Alpha Male, and then decided to go back up to 170 again. And Sage Northcutt, there is literally not an ounce of fat on this man. I mean, his body is just... It's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. I don't know if I've ever seen a body that is just that shredded. I mean, he legit has a 10-pack. Legit. And so he moves up to 170. Actually got rocked early in the fight against Zach Otto, but then rebounded and defeated him in the second round at 334 via knockout. Things going very well for young Sage with Team Alpha Male. Very cool to see not only Uriah Faber in his corner, but Raymond Daniels as well, who's a phenomenal kickboxer and still just 22 years young, turned 22 in March. I mean, it's amazing. The guy was born in 1996. I was in the 8th grade when he was born. Unbelievable. And so we'll talk to Sage in a matter of moments. Still to come, Robert Whitaker, the reigning defending UFC middleweight champion, talked to him about The Ultimate Fighter, talked to him about fighting Kelvin Gastelum either later on this year, speaking of a guy dealing with an injured hand, or early next year. And then, of course, we'll also talk to Chris Cyborg later on, the featherweight champion of the UFC's women's division. We had Amanda Nunes on the program earlier in the day, and she talked about signing her contract to fight on December 29th. We'll get Chris Cyborg's take on that. She seems to be very into the idea of fighting sooner rather than later and really wanting to fight on that September 8th card in Dallas. And as of right this moment, that card, which is amazing, is less than 2 months away, and it still doesn't have a main event. We'll talk about that later.